This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
Five-ish Fangirls, I love you, and I'm one of the five-ish. In fact, I'm the biggest one of the five-ish. I am the Sixth Doctor Colin Baker, and I wish you all well. Have fun.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode number 14 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Backup isn't coming. It will be just the four of us. We'll be outmanned and outgunned. But Fury always said a man can accomplish anything when he realizes he's part of something bigger. A team of people that share that conviction that can change the world. So what do you say? You ready to change the world? Welcome everyone to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us this week. Let's start off like we always do by going around the virtual table and see who has joined us this week.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Michelle in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone. So glad you're here.
Everybody.
Yes. Brittany, unfortunately, is stuck in the sodding vortex this week, but she sends her love and hopes that she shall join us as soon as possible. So, but we do have some interesting stuff to talk about this week, some interesting news, some TV news, some movie news, and a very interesting topic to talk about this week, something that I'm very passionate about. So we will jump right in with news.
First piece of news is kind of sad. We learned last Tuesday that the Doctor Who writer Jane Baker has passed away. She co-wrote with her husband Pip, Mark of the Rani, Terror of the Vervoids, The Ultimate Foe, and Time of the Rani. And with Colin Baker starring in the first 3 stories. And she's one of only 4 women to write or co-write a Doctor Who novelization. So
that was sad to hear. No.
Yeah.
Her and
Colin Baker. Colin Baker broke the
news on Twitter.
Yeah.
Pip and Jane they didn't write much for Doctor Who, but they wrote some favorite Doctor Who stories. The Mark of the Rani is one of my absolute favorite classic Who stories. So, for many reasons. So that's sad, and obviously our thoughts and prayers go to Pip and their family and all that. So.
Mm-hmm.
She will be missed.
Yes.
Well, I was just listening to her on the Time and the Ronnie commentary, like just 2 days before I got the news of her passing.
Mm.
So
if you haven't seen any of those serials or stories, do it. So
yeah.
And obviously, my vote for Mark of the Rani is...
Mark of the Rani is a great one.
Yes.
The Rani is an awesome foe, and you've got the Rani and the Master in the same story. It's just classic.
Yeah, it's gold. The way that they banter back and forth.
Yes. So.
They had Perry and the Sixth Doctor down pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And our next bit of news comes from the Marvel Universe. Robert Downey Jr. says there are no plans for Iron Man 4. There isn't one in the pipe. No, there's no plan for a 4th Iron Man. That was the rather blunt response that Downey Jr. gave to Variety recently when asked about the potential future of the successful comic book franchise. Kind of a bummer, maybe because of the next Avengers movie. Who knows? But I would have liked to have had a 4th Iron Man movie. I don't know about the rest of you.
This actually doesn't come as a surprise to me, actually, because I know Robert has said that, as much as he enjoys the role, he's getting old. And it's getting more difficult for him to play the role. He injured himself, filming Iron Man 3. So that this actually isn't a surprise.
Said, like, after Iron Man 3, that it seemed like pretty final the way it ended. Like,
Yeah.
that they did this trilogy and then, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's time to start cycling in, like, new heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Franchise.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe this is just a rumor, but didn't Gwyneth Paltrow say she was pretty much done being
Yeah.
Pepper Potts?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. As much as I love Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, and you see him at, premieres and things, and it's like, where does Robert Downey Jr. end and Tony Stark begin? Where does this, or whatever. But yeah, I guess they want to cycle in some new characters, because Marvel's got such a rich character base that they can draw from, and there's probably lots of people that could do that. And the comic books do that too. Like they get new people to step in and be the different Iron Man heroes, or whatever property, whichever character it is. So I was kind of sad when I saw Iron Man 3 and saw how it ended. I was like, but they can't end it like that. And like, oh, I guess they can. All right, well then, fine. So.
Well, we know that Iron Man's, we're going to see him in Avengers 2 and Avengers 3. So we know we get at least 2 more movies with Robert as Tony Stark / Iron Man. But, I would not be, as much as I love Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark and Iron Man, he is one of my absolute favorite characters in the Marvel Universe, that I don't think he necessarily needs to head any more movies, and he could still be a supporting role in the other franchises. And that way it takes some of the burden off of him, but we still get to see Tony and Iron Man and all that. So,
Well, and don't forget, like, the first Iron Man movie is kind of what kicked this all off, because that movie was so successful and nobody really predicted it or expected it to happen. And then Marvel, just kind of picked it up and went with it and said, oh, hey, yeah, we can do this whole big cinematic universe. And because they'd had other, like Incredible Hulk was there, but not like really big on anybody's radar. So it's like they kind of wanted to, but they didn't know if they could really do it. And then Disney bought them, and Iron Man was such a success. So that kind of contributed to why we have all of this great big Marvel universe.
A relatively unknown character. Like, he wasn't an A-list Marvel character before the film.
Yeah. He's A on my list. But hey, you know what?
All because of the movies.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
And they did the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't mind a little less Iron Man if it meant a bit more Star-Lord. So.
That's true. There's that trade-off.
Yeah.
And I've totally fallen in love with Chris Pratt. So if it means we get more Star-Lord, then they're keeping me happy.
Oh yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. All right.
So our next bit of news. This was kind of a surprise. Legend of Korra, Book 4, Balance, is set to premiere on October 3rd. Now, we got the name of Book 4. This is going to be the final season of The Legend of Korra. They've hammered this out well beforehand, and I think it's in post-production by now, because they were working on Book 3 and 4 simultaneously. But we weren't expecting to get a premiere date so quickly. So it's going to be October 3rd. It'll still be online only. You can get it at nick.com. And so that's when it's coming out, which I don't know. Book 3 was fantastic. Like, the way they left it off, there was so many different things that happened in that finale, and I won't go into spoilers because Did you watch it, Michelle?
I have watched it.
You have watched it. And it was
wow.
Yeah, it was. I had no idea where they were going. I had no idea that's how it was going to end up being, but holy cow. It was crazy. But yeah, it was awesome. But the creators Brian Konietzko and Michael DiMartino put out a video announcing when Korra would be airing online. So it's going to be every Friday, just like when they switched it to online for last season. So every Friday, there's going to be an episode online on Nick.com. So look for that. And this is going to be the last hurrah for the Avatar universe for the foreseeable future. I mean, the creators never say never, but they're going to take a break from it, which I can see why, because they've had really amazing stuff with this franchise, and hopefully it'll come back someday. But for now, you still have the comic books that are coming out too, which there's some pretty good storylines in there with the Avatar universe.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I'm completely caught up on that universe so far. But,
yeah.
Like, when they announced that it was coming out on October 3rd, I was wondering, like, how is it ready so fast? Because book 3 was supposed to come out this fall, and now they're coming out already. But then you said they were in production simultaneously, and
yeah, they were working on it. Like the animation at Comic-Con, they said that Studio Mir is the studio that works on it. I think they're from, I want to say Korea, but don't quote me on that. But I think that's where the studio's based, and they've been working on it, and the voice actors said they'd been recording some last minute post production stuff for it. So it's pretty much it's ready to go. So I don't know. I'm kind of sad that it feels so rushed like this, but I don't know. Like we said, I think I've pretty much beat this horse to death, and I don't need to beat it anymore. Is that, Korra is not Nickelodeon's usual fare, and it's as good as it is, as high quality and high class as it is. It's not what people turn on Nickelodeon for, which is a shame, because I think with a different network, it might have been treated a little bit better. But that's neither here nor there. We do get all 4 seasons, and we have Avatar to enjoy, which I do as much as I can when I'm not binge watching other things. But yeah, it's still one of my all-time favorite animated TV shows, TV franchises, and anyone who's got kids, or even if you don't have kids, it's so good. If you love animation, if you love good storytelling, if you love Eastern culture, or if you just want something good to watch, it's addicting, and it's so good. So
yeah, well, I love that post about the creator saying about how they based all the bending styles on different styles of martial arts.
Oh yeah, there's a rhyme to their reason. All those things work.
I've seen that post on Tumblr a couple of times, and it's like, that is so cool. That is like actual, like, there's a base. It's got a basis in reality.
Yeah,
and which I love.
Yeah, they consulted with all kinds of martial artists from different schools of martial art. I'm not well versed in that by any means, but they consulted with these people, and they had the animators study them and study their movements, so the different forms of bending all have accurate movements.
Bending is based on a style that was developed by a blind woman,
which makes sense because Toph is blind, and that's a big character.
Where I read that on that reblog of that post about the different styles, and I think it said that the creator said that they didn't know that it had been created by a blind woman when they used it for Toph's bending style.
Well, look at that. Serendipity.
I know.
The universe really wants the show to be good, I guess. So, wow, yeah, I've praised this show to the high heavens, and I will continue to praise it even after it's run its course. Man, it's one of those. My younger sister is in the animation program at the University of Utah, and so she studies different kinds of animation and art and things like that, and this is one of her favorite shows. Probably because of the animation, but also because of the story, because she's really into the story. And so I figure if it's something that I figure that they're doing something right if they can impress her with this. But that's been her favorite show forever, and I think that was part of the reason. I don't want to totally speak for her, but I think some of that is the reason why she's going into the field she's going into. So there you go.
Yeah, cool. In other news, some movie news, it's actually something I've been keeping my eye on for a little bit. There's a trailer out now for a film called Walt Before Mickey, which, if you haven't figured out from the title, it's a biopic essentially of Walt Disney, but it's going to focus on Walt's childhood and his early years, working up to when he and his brother Roy founded the Disney Studios in 1923. In this particular one, it's also going to show, I think, some of Walt's time when he served in the military as well. But it's actually one of 2 Walt Disney biopics that are out there in production. Walt Before Mickey, they're still looking for a distributor for their particular film, but the other one is called As Dreamers Do, and it actually is complete and available to watch. You can go on their website and you can either rent it or you can buy a digital download, and it's also going to be available on DVD within the next couple of weeks. So you can purchase it that way as well. So if you're a huge Disney fanatic like I am, and want to gobble up anything and everything that has to do with Walt and his life and what he did, both of these films just look absolutely beautiful and real well made. There's not really anybody of note, at least that I recognize, as far as cast for either of them. But I do know that the As Dreamers Do is backed by several different companies, including one that is a Disney travel agency that is owned and operated by a friend of mine. So, and if she and her company are backing it, then I'm saying it has to be good, because I trust her, because I know how big a fan she is of the parks and Walt and all the history and all that. And if she felt it worthy to back, with her and her company's money, then, it's definitely something that I'm going to take the time to watch. I just got to find the time to do it. So, but I may wait until it's available on DVD, because I like that kind of, some movies I like to have the physical copy of, especially if there's extras that you can't get with just a digital download. But we'll post a link for the websites for both of the films, and you can see the trailers, and then the one, the As Dreamers Do, you can actually purchase or rent it right from the website, so if you want to see that. But obviously, Saving Mr. Banks, Tom Hanks was the first person to ever portray Walt Disney in a film, so now you've got 2 more, that are out, or will be out now, because Walt is just one of those people where, the people that knew him, and obviously they, the people that respect him and what he did, they want him to be portrayed accurately if he was ever to appear in a film. And that's why it's been, so many decades since he's passed, and they've yet to do any sort of biopic officially from Disney, the company itself. So it's fans that have decided to do these things. But
I think I asked you, I don't know how long ago it was. Like, I was kind of wondering if there had ever been a docudrama about Walt Disney, because he is so influential in the entertainment industry and just and with Disney parks and just everything that he did and was able to accomplish is like, why hasn't anybody done anything like this with Walt Disney yet?
Yeah.
I think it was like right after I saw Saving Mr. Banks, which I waited a while to see that. But so yeah, and I'm really interested in both of these. I'm curious to see how well they do and if they're accurate and I mean as accurate as you can be with any of these things given time constraints. And it's really hard to cram someone's life into an hour and a half, 2 hour movie, but especially Walt Disney, how much he did.
Yeah, which is why I think both of these are really focusing on the first, 20, 25 years of his life, because that's, once they, going up to the point where they filmed the Disney studios, the animation studios in the early 1920s, from 1923 to the early 1960s when Walt passed. That's when he really accomplished everything that people recognize that is Walt Disney, but that they how he grew up, growing up and his family life and the influence that his brother had on him and all that, and the relationship he had with his brother got him to where it all started with the mouse essentially. So so the first 20 something years of Walt's life are very important, and I could see them wanting to focus on that because everything after the studios was founded is more well known because it was all done in public, the creation of all the films and then the designing of Disneyland and all that. So
he was always on TV showing all these things, and that's how I know Walt Disney. And I mean we would watch old videotaped Wonderful World of Disney videotapes when I was a little kid because it was always on reruns and stuff, or my mom had them. I don't know where we got them. And for the longest time, I thought Walt Disney was still alive. And this is, the mid 1980s or late 1980s when I was little, early 1990s. And I was devastated when I found out Walt Disney had passed away, 20 some odd years before that. I was like, no, it's Uncle Walt. I know. I see him on TV all the time. I was a very impressionable child. But no, I adore Walt Disney, and I'm really excited to see these things. So anyway, and our last bit of news. This is kind of old news, but I wanted to talk about it anyway because it's something near and dear to my heart. The first 23 episodes of the new English dub of Sailor Moon have been released on Hulu for a limited time. They were released. I can't remember what the day was, but they're on there now. They only have the first half of season 1, and the DVD and Blu-ray are now available on pre-order. So wherever you get your anime DVDs, Amazon has it. I think Crunchyroll has it listed, and Right Stuff has it. So yeah, I guess it was the first weekend of September, so it would have been Labor Day weekend, or no. No, sorry. I can't. Not Labor Day weekend. It was Comic-Con weekend for me, but yeah, the 6th, that was when but it's been on there and it's still there, so if you want to check it out, I've seen a couple episodes. I didn't want to watch them all through again because I've been following it, the subbed anime, the subbed version, and I'm like, I've seen these episodes already and I know what the story is, but I just wanted to hear the voices, and they're actually pretty good, and I'm impressed with what I've heard so far, So yeah, it's not the original 90s English dub. Unfortunately, we'll probably never see that because rights issues and the original creators were so unimpressed by it, to say the least, that was one big reason why Sailor Moon didn't have licensing internationally for so long. Was the dubs, not just the English dub, but there were some other international dubs that just did it very, very poorly. Even though some of us, that's what we grew up with, and we kind of have nostalgia for that. I don't think that's ever going to get a DVD release unless something really, really weird happens. But yeah, but this is going to be a nice, new, cleaned up, remastered, brand new, shiny. Even the packaging is shiny. Viz Media put out a little Vine video of them showing the proofs of the packaging, and they were like shining the light on it so you could see how sparkly and rainbow it is, which is appropriate for Sailor Moon, because if there's something this show does well, it's sparkles and magic and fantasy and destiny and all that great stuff. So I'm excited. And Sailor Moon Crystal is still plugging along, doing really well. I'm going to wait for that big box set to come out, and that'll be some time before that's available. But my short review of that is I'm enjoying it. I post reviews of it when the news episodes come out. I post reviews of them on my blog. So if you feel so inclined, you can check those out and see what my take on it is. Shameless self-promotion into that. I don't know if any of you other ladies have been following that at all, or have any kind of Sailor Moon nostalgia.
Is it on Hulu or is it on Hulu Plus?
It's on Hulu. It's
Okay.
actually on the free side of Hulu.
Cool. I may need to watch that.
Yeah. So now that the English dubbed is up, if you're not a fan of reading subtitles, yeah, you don't have to for at least the first 23 episodes. Then they'll get the rest on there as they go along.
Yeah.
But apparently the dubbed episodes aren't going to be on there forever, so if you want to see them, better get it in as soon as you can.
Cool.
And that's it for news.
Yeah. Well, not a whole lot of news. Just kind of absorbing stuff as it comes in, so especially with stuff premiering soon. So
yeah,
which is
premiere time is upon us.
Yes, it is.
2 weeks.
It's a good segue. Good segue into this week's topic, since we do have shows returning very quickly. We thought we'd do a recap of some of our favorites and maybe do some speculation on upcoming seasons. So this week we're going to focus on one of my favorite that I watched religiously, and I'm so excited for it to come back. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back next week. So excited! The 23rd, I think, is the proper date for that.
Yes, I was writing up my schedule for when all my shows were coming back, and I was surprised that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came back so quickly.
Yes.
So I was like, oh my gosh, that's only not very long.
Yeah,
actually a week from this Tuesday.
Yep. So, but it will be coming back it will be airing at 9 instead of 8, as opposed to last season where it was on at 8 o'clock. It's going back an hour, but same day.
8 to 9 for this new season on Space. I don't know. It's weird. Why are my shows moving to 9 o'clock?
You don't know. Don't they understand we need sleep?
I know. Well, we have to have that cool down time after they drop those big bombshells on us, and we're just like, what?
Yeah.
And you just kind of wander around the house, go, what? What just happened?
Exactly.
What? Well, I fortunately am able to. I have there's a website where live TV cafe where you can watch live channels, and BBC is one of those. So I watched Doctor Who in mid afternoon that way. So I was able to do a cool down from
every episode.
Well, the past two anyways, because the first two I was like, first one I was at the zoo with my family, so I watched it at the evening time, which the first episode was at 8.
Yeah.
Second episode, I was at Fan Expo Canada, so I wasn't able to watch that till probably close to midnight.
Which is why we do these recaps, because you don't watch the same time as everybody else, and suddenly you feel like you're like weeks behind everybody else. So, unless you've been,
it has been a long 3 months.
Robot of Sherwood and Listen, I was able to do the mid-afternoon viewing, and then I took my puppy for a walk after I watched Listen, so I was able to get out of the house,
cool down, absorb everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, unless you've been living under a rock, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a companion to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What it is it follows Agent Phil Coulson, my favorite, and his team of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents as they go around kind of, hunting aliens and odd stuff and, the weird, strange happenings now that they realize that they are not alone in the universe. And it picks up right after Iron Man 3, actually, but for Coulson, it picks up after the Avengers. Where we find out that Coulson actually survived being impaled by Loki. And pretty much the entire season, to a point, is him and his agents. The pilot is his team and his Coulson trying to hunt down a group called Centipede. Which is doing testing on people and is having some very nasty side effects. They're
trying to recreate the super soldier serum, what they did for Captain America, which has been, spoilers, Hydra's big push forever.
Yeah, it's essentially they're getting the same effects as what happened in Iron Man 3 with the extremists. Is people are imploding from this serum, but Centipede is supposedly run by this all-knowing being called the Clairvoyant, and it's Coulson and his team's job to try and shut down Centipede and figure out who this Clairvoyant is, because the Clairvoyant has knowledge and is always one step ahead of them. And at the same time, they pick up this hacker named Skye and bring her in because they think she could be of use because she's got these great computer hacking abilities.
And she was actually tracking them before all this started, so that's how she found out about Centipede, and that's
how she got on their radar.
Yeah. And she was trying to,
do a double agent type thing.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she's working. She was originally hacking for this group called the Rising Tide, who feel like they think it's the public's right to know about these strange going on. So you've got that going on, and at the same time, Coulson is up until this point just kind of doing his thing, but is starting to question what exactly happened to him after he was attacked by Loki and how he actually survived. He has these memories of being in Tahiti. It's a magical place.
Trademark, copyright, see in a circle.
Yeah. These memories of recuperating in Tahiti, and he's not entirely sure if that's the truth. Fury told him that he was only dead for 8 seconds, and Coulson doesn't quite believe him. So you've got Coulson questioning what exactly happened to him and how he survived, and at the same time trying to figure out who this Clairvoyant is and how they're staying, multiple steps ahead of him, and how can we stop Centipede from turning more people into these abominations that could potentially harm people and that sort of thing. So there's one-offs as you go through the season. That a lot of the stories seem kind of one-off. They go either discover a piece of technology or something. They stumble across pieces of technology that are still powered by Tesseract energy. They discover a piece of armor from the Chitauri that has side effects to anybody who touches it. But eventually you figure out that everything's more connected than meets the eye. And one of the things I've loved about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is you could watch the movies and not watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and be fine. But if you're like me and you're diehard, and I watched the Avengers multiple times, and then I watched Iron Man 3 as soon as it came out, and then I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. up until the point where Thor: The Dark World came out, and I made sure I watched that, and then the episode right after Thor comes out picks up with Coulson and his team in London cleaning up after the mess from Thor: The Dark World. And we end up encountering Lady Sif in one of the episodes.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
Yeah, and it builds and builds and builds until we get to, and they introduce more and more characters. You've got Coulson, you've got Agent May, who, you don't want to mess with her, seriously.
Oh,
She's awesome. She'll kick your butt. You've got Grant Ward, who is newish to the team. He's the latest recruit. When we first see Coulson the first time in the pilot, which is Coulson, they have some of the best lines where he's all like, they're interviewing Ward and seeing, if he's ready for the promotion, because he's level 6 and you have to be level 7 to know that Coulson is alive. Those are the people that need that clearance. And Coulson's all like, welcome to level 7. He walks out from the darkness, and there's this thing, and he's like, sorry, it was dark back there. It's like, I think a light bulb's out.
It's a I mean, it's a Joss Whedon.
It is.
Show.
Yeah.
Well, it's Whedon Enterprises, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So it's got that trademark humor, and it's really good.
Yeah. And then you've got Skye, which at this point she's just Skye. She's like Cher, no last name. You've got Fitz and Simmons, who are just adorable together.
I love from the moment they introduced them as Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
I was like, those two, they're my favorite.
Yeah.
I love them. Give me more. I want more of them.
Yeah.
I don't care I mean, they insist throughout the season that they're just best friends, but you ship them, great. I kind of do. I kind of think there's something there, especially after the finale.
Fitz.
But Fitz. Oh,
Fitz ships Fitzsimmons.
Fitz is just my adorable little teddy bear.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah. But they're
Simmons
the medical and they're the medical scientific nerds that aren't really they haven't really seen combat, and that changes once they become part of Coulson's team. They introduce Agent Triplet down the line, where he was working with Garrett, who's played by Bill Paxton. They get introduced towards the second half of the season, who they team up with Coulson's team to try and hunt down this clairvoyant. And then you've got Agent Hand, who was kind of witchy starting out, but she turned out to actually not be that bad of a person. She's very by the book. Mm-hmm. And Coulson tends to do things not so by the book. Much to Fury's fury sometimes. Mm-hmm. So we get those characters, and we see we get some villains, some one-off villains, but it all builds. It's kind of like a pressure cooker, and it was all sort of, a lot of people said that a lot of people jump ship early on with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and if they didn't get back on the bandwagon, they really missed out. I will admit that it did take some time for it to find its legs, but looking back now, you can see now that they were they knew what they were doing, is planting these seeds and all the puzzle pieces coming together. And
I would like to do a full rewatch now that I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen the whole thing. I'd like to do a full rewatch.
Yeah, me too.
Just see
Yeah.
how all the pieces.
But it all comes to head to at episode.
I think it.
16.
17.
Yeah, 17.
Well, 17 is the first one after Captain America.
Yeah, which is after Captain America Winter Soldier is released. And, if you've seen Winter Soldier, you find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. essentially has been infiltrated by Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
And has been for years. And now Hydra's making its move. And Coulson's team has to deal with the fallout, and we find out that Ward is Hydra and so is Garrett. And it turns the entire team upside down. Fitz and Simmons end up
the parent death.
Yeah. And it becomes this race against time because Ward manages to take Skye away from the bunker that they were hiding in. Fitz and Simmons end up captured and end up at the bottom of the ocean. Coulson's lost all trust in May. He doesn't know if he can trust her because he finds out she's been reporting on him to Nick Fury the entire time. And so the team is just in shatters. So from, episode 17 on, it's just Coulson trying to figure, everything he has known up to this point is just destroyed. He was, a S.H.I.E.L.D. guy through and through, and now he doesn't know who he can trust. Nick Fury is supposedly dead. His team members are scattered. He knows one of them is Hydra. He's not sure if the rest of them are. And it's terrible, and I feel for Coulson, but at the same time, it's just like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for as far as the payoff for this season, and it does not let you down at all.
No.
And
episode 16 is called End of the Beginning.
Yes.
So it's like all this is lead up. Now we're getting into we're getting into the real
meat of the.
Yeah.
What I think the challenge was with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is they're making it part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have these great big blockbuster movies, but then it's what happens in between those movies, and there's the cleanup. This is after Thor: The Dark World. They got to come in and do all that, and a lot of people were all like, "Oh, is that all the tie-in is going to be? They just come in and pick up after Thor and what's his face's big battle." The Ninth Doctor, who's not the Ninth Doctor. I can't remember his name now.
Malekith.
Malekith, thank you. Yeah.
I know it was Malekith something.
Yeah,
that guy. So, is this all that this is going to be? And I was just like, you know what, this might just be, at first I was like, okay, just hang with it, let it play the long game, let this play out. I'm sure they've got something going on here. It's Marvel. They have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to screw this up. And so I'm like, because of their track record with the movies, I'm like, okay, they want to try out TV. Let's let them do it, and let them get out some more detailed stories. And now looking back at it after watching the whole season and seeing how it all goes, and tying it in with the movies is a challenge because the release schedule is you got to work with that. But now looking back, I kind of feel like the first, not even half, maybe 3/4, not even that, but it was getting used to these characters and getting to know them because they're all new characters with the exception of Agent Coulson.
Mm-hmm.
And they did have Kobe Smulders come back and be Agent Hill in the first episode. Nick Fury made a cameo in one episode.
In episode 2, and then
Sif.
he reappears in the finale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like before all that, they had all these characters from the movies come in and make cameos. But this is the team. This is the team, and we've got to connect with them. We got to get to know them and understand them and what their deal is. And it's just like any other. You look at Firefly and what Joss Whedon does with those ensemble casts, and they're all different. They're all, very different personalities, different backgrounds, and they all somehow have to work together. And they're a little rocky at first, because Agent May's got her thing going on, and Grant Ward is, he's kind of the lone wolf, whatever, and Sky's got her own thing, and there's Fitz and Simmons being just happy and adorable over there in the lab, and you just love them. And then Agent Coulson has to be the heart of this team, and then by the time the Hydra thing is blown out of,
bomb is dropped.
Yeah, the ball is dropped. Yeah, that big bombshell goes off. Then it's a whole new, everything you thought you had to get used to and had to work with is totally gone.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, okay, so now that we have this basis of what these characters are, what we thought they were, now there's something else. So I think, to have that surprise and to have that twist, they had to set it up, and I think they did a pretty good job. And it wasn't perfect. There were a few hiccups. But on the whole, given what they had to work with and the time frame they had to work with, I'm actually really looking forward to what they do in season 2. Yeah. And with all the stuff that it's been announced casting wise, they've got some interesting stuff going on. And
I suspect that season 2 is not. It's not going to be a slow burn.
No,
like season was, because now the characters are established. Obviously, they're still going to introduce new characters. We've got. The character being played by Lucy Lawless, and we're getting, some others too. But
we know the core team.
Yeah, we know the core team. We know, at least some of their background.
The slow burn of season 1 was getting to know the core team.
Yes,
right.
Now that we know the core team, we can bring in new characters and get to know them in an episode.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And, now they're even bringing in superheroes, like they have Mockingbird. They have her cast.
Yeah.
And even Peggy Carter is going to make a cameo appearance.
Yes.
I can't remember which episode they said, but she's going to be in there.
I think she's going to be in the season premiere, I think. It's going to be in a flashback, because it's her with the Howling Commandos of all people, which I think is really cool.
I know, I love those guys from Captain America, and then that sets up her spin-off, which I'm guessing is going to take place in the winter break.
Yeah, it's going to be a midwinter replacement when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. goes on hiatus in the winter. So
yeah, which I'm looking forward to that.
Because the Wikipedia page has the titles for the first 3 episodes of season 2.
Don't tell me, I don't want to know.
Okay.
But if you're interested, go to the Wikipedia.
If you're interested in the titles of the first 3 episodes of season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., check out the Wikipedia page.
Yep. I don't want to know.
Writers and directors for the first 2.
I've tried to be as, I usually, most of the time I'm okay with spoilers, but Doctor Who and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I try to be as spoiler-free as possible.
Understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm with that with some shows. I'm not like that with some others.
Yeah. So, but I'm just, since episode 1, I've been a banner carrier for this show, and I'm just like, you need to watch it. And I've had some people, as it was airing, that were people that I knew watched the movies, the cinematic universe, but weren't necessarily watching the show, or were not as religiously as I was. I was, would ask me, and I'm all like, you need to watch it, but you need to do it like this. You need to watch these, and then you need to watch Thor, and then you need to watch these, and then you can watch Winter Soldier, and then you can watch the rest of it.
And see, that's what makes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit different, is like, it does tie in with the movies. And I've heard some people criticize that. It's like, well, the TV show ought to stand on its own, because not everybody can get out to see the movies. And I think that goes back to, as a commentary, as how we watch TV nowadays, because a lot of people, they binge watch. So and TV shows nowadays are made for the box set. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you watch it as it airs on on ABC or whatever Space, whatever channel you get it on, and then you go if you can. I mean,
Well, when I went to see Captain America: The Winter Soldier for my birthday, I made sure to watch up to episode 16 because I knew that it was released it had come out between 16 and 17. So I watched up to 16, watched the movie, and then got caught up with the other the 4 or 5 that had been the 4 episodes. The 17, 18, 19, 20, the 4 episodes been released in between the movie and when I got to watch it.
Yeah.
And it all depends on how you feel about spoilers too. Like, Rachel, she's watched it in order, doesn't want to even know the titles of the episodes. And some people are like, oh, I want to go find out what's going on because I want to speculate. I want to think about these things and theorize and think of what I know, especially like if you're a comic book fan, which I don't know how well this all works together, but if you're a fan of the comics, then you can kind of speculate, because I know this character is going to be in there, this story is probably going to happen, or I think this one's going to go, and this is what I think these characters are going to do. So it's a really unique show, and it's really interesting, and it's I would expect nothing less from Marvel because they're the ones that did this whole cinematic universe thing and made everything interconnect. And even that was one of their hashtags, because ABC, their shows are big on, the social media and the cast going out on Twitter and things, promoting all their stuff and so one of their big hashtags was "It's all connected." And I think that's a big risk that Marvel takes, but they've proved that they can make it work.
Yes.
And it pays off immensely over time, just not just in terms of financial success or whatever, but also in terms of how good their stories are and how good their characters are, which I think is Marvel's greatest strength. Is like they make they do all these funny little things with connecting them and the Easter eggs and the post-credit sequences and stuff like that. But what makes Marvel work is that they're committed to telling good stories and having really good characters and telling the story they want to tell regardless of what else is going on, with the critics and whatever. Because a lot of people on some of the blogs I read on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're like, oh, this show, it's so blah, blah, blah. It's, it's not going anywhere. I can't connect to these characters because of X, Y, and Z. And I was just kind of like, I feel like you're kind of giving up a little early on this.
Yeah.
I feel like you're not giving it a chance that it deserves. And if it had been anybody else, if it had been any other studio doing this, if it hadn't been Marvel, I probably would have given up too. So I can't come down too hard on those critics. But I think because it was Marvel, I was like, I'll just stick with this and see where this goes, because we got a couple Marvel movies coming up.
It's on CTV in Canada.
Oh, okay, CTV. Thanks. So yeah. So if what was I saying? Oh, that because this is Marvel and because I kind of know how they operate, I think I'm gonna stick with it. And when these movies are coming out, they're gonna tie into that, and I'm gonna stick with it. And I'm glad I did.
Me too. Not that I was gonna. I never doubted it really for a second. So I'm a bit Coulson in that regard. I'm like, yay, Shield forever. Yeah. Until the rug gets pulled out from under me. We all need a little bit of
Agent Coulson in our lives.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, we are Agent Coulson.
Yes. Yeah. But it's just.
The first season DVD just came out a few days ago.
Yes. So that's out there for you to purchase and binge watch. So it's on my list.
And make sure you get those movies in at the right slot.
Exactly.
And they did a really good job marketing when, what episode you needed to see when.
Yeah.
Or, telling people, make sure you go see Captain America this weekend.
Yeah. And I was like that after the fact, I went and saw Captain America and like the weekend it came out, and then I've already told this story when we were talking about spoilers. After I saw Captain America Winter Soldier, and then that Tuesday, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came on, and like within like the first 10 minutes, Hydra's on the screen. I'm like, oh! I was on social media like, if you've not seen Winter Soldier, do not watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, that's why
major spoilers.
I made sure. Okay, if came out on this day.
Yeah.
So this is the last episode before it came out. I will watch it to this one and no further, just in case there are spoilers.
Yeah.
Yep. And the weekend that Captain America came out, I had something going on and I couldn't go see it in the theaters. But I knew Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to be on Tuesday, and I knew I had to see Captain America before I saw that episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So right after work, I went straight to the movie theater. I didn't even go home, and I hit the matinee and saw Captain America, and I walked out of the movie theater. My jaw was still on the floor, like, oh my gosh, how is this all going to work? And I was just like, yep, Marvel, you did it again. You're awesome. I love you. Take my money. You've got it.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yep.
Once the Hydra bomb dropped, it was just everything was just up in the air, and you're just waiting for the chips to fall where they may. And it's and we're going to be seeing the fallout of this, not only in the cinematic universe, but on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you've seen, the promos for the upcoming season, this is really going to be about the fallout of this revelation. At this point, the team is still kind of scattered, but they are being brought back together. Coulson has been made director of S.H.I.E.L.D. by Nick Fury, because Nick Fury, for all intents and purposes, is dead to the world. And so he's working underground, so he can't be in charge. He's off, trying to hunt down these cells of Hydra and try to figure out just how far this is spread. And so he's left Coulson in charge. He's got one of his team members that turned out to be Hydra. So it's like, what do you do with Ward? Do you try and rehabilitate him? Do you lock him up? What do you do? You can't let him go, because he may just go back to Hydra, and they may never see him again, and he knows all their secrets because he was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And there's still obviously evil out.
Question mark. Yeah. With her background, or did that get straightened out?
It's not. There's still, Sky's background. All that we know of Sky is, she was rescued as a baby by a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, was dropped off at an orphanage. Her parents possibly have alien background. Sky is considered an 084, which is an object of unknown origin. Okay. So she's got potential.
I think her father, they cast an actor to play her father, so yes. We don't know exactly what that's going to entail.
Right. But we don't know if Sky is 100% human. Does she have any sort of abilities that just haven't manifested themselves yet? We don't know. So we've got that, because up to this point, Sky, her main goal when she joined Coulson's team was to use S.H.I.E.L.D. in all their records to figure out her past, because she doesn't know anything about her past. She doesn't know anything about her parents or where she came from or anything. So that was her goal when she first joined, but then, she actually started to care and became a legit member, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. for like 5 minutes, and then the whole Hydra thing blew up, and she's still mad about that.
She's like, I didn't get to use my badge.
Exactly. So, we've got that, and it's, Coulson wants to rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D., but the government doesn't trust them. As far as the government is concerned, they're all wanted people and potential terrorists. But
we don't know how Simmons' recovery is gonna.
Yeah, we.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, as far as we know, we know Fitzsimmons survived, but what kind of condition they're going to be in after all this, we don't know.
Well, Fitz was in worse shape than Simmons.
Yeah.
Because Simmons was at least like on her feet with the group.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fitz was
Yeah.
off, like
Yeah.
in a coma or something. Am I remembering correctly, or am I?
Yeah, I mean, he was in a coma. They said he would live, but they didn't know the extent of the damage. Essentially, I think because of the lack of oxygen and all that from going from the bottom of the ocean to the surface in such a quick amount of time without the depressurization and all that. But I mean, at this point, Coulson's goal is to take his team, try and stop Hydra and any other enemies that may come along, but they have to do it on the down low because at this point the government doesn't trust them, the public doesn't trust them after everything that happened in The Winter Soldier. So, as Coulson says in the teaser, saving people's lives whether they realize we're doing it or not is their goal. And it's I think I said this last week that I feel for Coulson. I would not want to be in his position at all, but it's going to be interesting to watch and see where this goes, especially considering we don't have any more movies the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be pretty much all Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We may see some tie-in to Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe not, probably not. I would think at this point.
Earth-based.
Yeah, because
except for the beginning.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe we'll see like some random file on Peter Quill, like just as a cameo.
Yeah.
As they're shuffling through papers or something. Who knows? I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. for all intents and purposes is gone.
It's gone.
And yeah, they're all underground right now, trying to figure out what they do. And you were talking about like the movies aren't anymore for the rest of the year. And I guess there's only Avengers next year, isn't there?
we got Ant-Man next year as well.
Oh, Ant-Man, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I forgot about that one. But sorry, it's not one that I'm familiar with. I'm still going to go see it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's been Avengers. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it stands on its own for a little while, cuz kind of has to.
Yeah. So, and how it'll tie in, if any, to when Agent Carter comes on in the winter, because Agent Carter will be following Peggy as where it picks up after the first Captain America movie, and if you saw the one shot, that she ends up
she's a doing
work, but not being. She's essentially a paper pusher because nobody takes her seriously, but she ends up proving her worth and catching Howard Stark's eye, and he invites her to join him in the founding of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we could get, some S.H.I.E.L.D. origin with Agent Carter, which I think would be interesting and probably help tie everything together. So, especially if you're not one that follows the comic books and you're not that familiar with the origin of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'll be planning on watching Agent Carter as well once it starts airing. So hopefully people give it a shot as well, along with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that people don't jump ship like they did.
Well, I think people are kind of cottoning on to, oh, this got good again? Okay, I guess I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
And, so,
watch it, people. It needs the
you
ratings. Keep it on the air.
You know what? I've come late to a lot of different things, and it took me a while to get into it to some things. But once I'm a fan of it, I'm there until you tell me you don't need me anymore. So I'm not gonna look down on people who left and then came back and decided, oh, this really is good, because we want them all in the fold.
Oh yeah. Come play with us in our sandbox.
Yes. As much or as little as you choose.
Yep.
Just have fun.
Yep.
That's all we ask.
Yep. So. I'm excited. I'm counting down the days. My
Oh,
Tuesday
yes.
my Tuesday evenings shall be booked. My husband knows, all of last season Tuesday night I was in the room with the TV on to not bother me unless like the house was on fire or an atomic bomb had gone off outside. Otherwise, do not bother me while Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on.
It's like that graphic I saw for Doctor Who is like valid reasons to bother me when Doctor Who is on. Just kidding, there are no valid reasons.
Exactly. Pretty much.
The Liam Neeson meme. You call me during this, and
I will find you and I will kill you.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I have a certain set of skills.
Yeah. It's like I don't watch a lot of TV. Mostly because I don't pay for cable or anything like that. So, what shows I have to watch, I have to watch.
Yep.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And this is one of them. So.
If I can get it on Hulu, then we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Yeah.
Come October, I'm gonna have 2 Tuesday night shows.
What's your other one?
Supernatural.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Comes
2
back.
Tuesday nights.
Season 10, October 7th. Should be good.
I have 2 Tuesday night shows as well. I have Person of Interest, which is quite an interesting show. No pun intended, but it actually has some tie-ins with not tie-ins, but some parallels with Captain America: Winter Soldier, which I was sitting there watching Winter Soldier, and I'm just kind of like, did they kidnap the Person of Interest writers for this? Because there's a lot of stuff in here. Not that I'm complaining about it, because they're both excellent. But yes, I have to have my list up.
Fall is like Christmas for
Isn't it?
for fandoms. Yeah, we go all summer, and
we get Comic-Con in the middle, and that kind of gets us all excited. But then
that's
the last month
the
of
appetizer.
the hiatus. Yeah, the last month of the hiatus is like, oh, can we be done, please? And we're almost there. Yes. I can't believe it.
Yeah. So mark your calendars. A week from this Tuesday, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., ABC. Watch it. Yep. If you miss it'll be online. And then I hope they continue their little behind the scenes featurettes too that they've been putting up online as well. After each episode, that kind of go with each episode. So lots of fun stuff on there, and then the cast is on social media, so they're always fun to follow as well. So
Clark Gregg is a gift to mankind.
Yes, he is. I love him.
Follow his Twitter. That is true. So take what he says with a grain of salt, but just enjoy what he says on Twitter.
Coulson lies, but he's still fun to talk to.
Yep. Anyway. So if any of our listeners out there are fans of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., let us know what you think. And tell us who your favorites are. Are you going to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this year? Are you one of those that gave up on it and came back? And what did you think? What did you think when you came back to it?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you stick with it all the way through? Or did you stop and say, I'm done? Just let us know. We want to hear from you on this topic.
Yeah.
And any other shows that you watch, tell us about them.
Yep.
And maybe we'll have to clear a little bit of time off of our very busy schedule. I'm looking at the shows I watch, and I've got at least one every night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
But that's good, because that means there's good things to see.
Yes. And you got to squeeze in football every now and then, too.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yes. Oh, my fantasy team. I think I might win.
Oh, good.
I'm behind, but I still got 2 more players to play tomorrow night.
Good.
So, we'll see.
I used to be in a family league. It would never fail. First week would be my dad's team versus my team. It made
Yeah,
for an interesting day and a half.
Yeah. No, this is my family's little league. My brother puts it together, and I've kind of sat out the last couple of years, but this year I was like, yeah, I gotta do it. I have Peyton Manning on my team. I'm like, okay, I'm there.
So,
Yep.
So
I've never done fantasy sports of any kind. I hear people around me talking about it, but I'm like, no, not interested.
it's interesting, but then sometimes it's like, who do I start? Flip a coin, and then 9 times out of 10, it's the wrong coin flip.
you know what? They're just as nerdy as we are about Marvel and all this other different way.
Mm.
I have to explain that to my brother on a not as regular basis as I used to, but yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, you can find all of our. If you want to get a hold of us, or you just want to catch up on what we're doing and all that fun stuff. Obviously, the main hub for everything is our blog, which is the 5-ish Fangirls podcast.blogspot.com. It's where you can find the episode and the link for download, and our link to Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, our Patreon as well. Links for our news and anything else we decide to put links up for as well. You can find there. But that's our main social media hotspot where you can find anything and everything. So
yep, and you can fly off to wherever you want to go from there.
Yep.
Because we're everywhere else.
Yeah.
Just not on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure that thing out. I'm just like, what? Anyway, but yes, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And should we tell what we're gonna do next week, or?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to,
okay.
if you want homework, it's
not
not
homework,
mandatory,
but
if you want some, if you want to send in feedback pertinent to what we're going to be doing next week, we're going to be doing something along the same lines, a nice preview recap / conspiracy squee speculation for Once Upon a Time. So,
and here's just a quick little shameless self-promotion. I've been rewatching season 3 just on my own, and I have been live tweeting it on my secondary Twitter account because I don't know why. I just wanted to get some more tweets on there and rewatch Once Upon a Time season 3. And I and that secondary Twitter account is CJ_tweets5. And we'll put a link to that. But anyway, I just finished Quiet Minds, which is episode 3.15, I think. I think it's episode 15. Yes, that makes sense. I just finished that today. My goal is to finish everything before September 28th, which is when Once Upon a Time premieres, and hopefully, cross my fingers, I might squeeze in watching Frozen once more before because if you haven't noticed, Frozen is everywhere.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time. So, yeah, I don't have
that, Chrissy.
I'm almost done. I
know. That's what 7 more episodes ish.
7 more episodes plus a movie, and it's got 2 weeks from today. I can do it.
Yeah.
And I don't have a set schedule. But if you want to just chime in on some of my tweets or whatever, just see what I thought about certain things. The first half of season 3, I guess this is kind of spoilery for next week, but consider this a tease. There was a lot of profanity during the first half of season 3, but it's calmed down substantially now that I've started 3B because I really like this one because it's the Wicked Witch. Anyway, but that's for next week.
Yeah.
And there will be much to squee about.
Yeah.
And spoilers will be discussed.
Yeah.
Guess we didn't really sound the spoiler warning for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, statute of limitations.
That's true.
It's long gone.
It's on Hulu. It's been everywhere.
Yeah.
For Once Upon a Time as well.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know. we won't. I know there are some spoilers for season 4 floating around out there, and beyond what has been officially discussed, like casting and stuff like that, we won't go into any like behind the scenes set reports that have been out there. But Frozen, that's everywhere. So
Yes.
consider yourself warned.
Yep.
That's going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Alrighty
Well,
then.
yeah.
Well, I think we're done for this week, or after last week's marathon of an episode.
Yeah. Well, that was, we were covering 2 weeks worth of stuff that we had held over. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we better close up shop here, ladies.
Yep. So
Unless-
we'll,
Anything else we got to say? So.
nope.
So from Salt Lake City, this is Chrissy saying good night to you all.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
Good night. This is Michelle saying good night from Kitchener, Ontario.
This is Rachel from Indianapolis, Indiana. Colson,
Hail Hydra!
what did you do to this plane?
Colson lives!
Colson lives!
Don't touch Lola.
Yeah, don't touch Lola. Whatever you do, don't touch Lola.
You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.